opportunity to say that. Are y'all ready to get down? Yeah! Are y'all ready to get up? Yeah! Are y'all ready to get busy? UMD, if you didn't know before, you are officially Leftist.
Tell us a little bit about your band. How'd you guys start?
We actually started in, I believe it was '09. We have a few iterations of how we started. So originally someone had asked me to perform, Sana Javid actually asked me to perform at an event. I had been performing a little bit in the spoken word circle.
Check me out. Locked and loaded as I cock my focus, exploding on my own recognizance, then I'm out of it potent.
And I kind of got real tired of it. So I asked Maher, who I had known to be a musician. He had worked with Raif, he toured with Outlandish a little bit. And I had known him obviously to be the musician of the MSA. So I asked him to perform with me. And he said he agreed. It was a very early version of Dearly Departed that went a little too fast and was a little too terrible. We had a week, we threw it together, and we just played with it. While we were on stage, it just so happens that the Abate and Ish were in the audience, and they were like, Ish was basically like, yo, if you need me right now, I'm good. I'm like, but Ish, we can't really use you right now. Like, we're about to perform. You can't just throw somebody up there. But he and the Abate were really like, whatever you need, we're there. And so I'm the type of guy who, when I'm in a situation where I know when people feel it and when they want to give something to it, I prefer people who give something to it as opposed to people who want to, who want to just latch on. So they were already, a part of it in their own way. Just seeing us on stage was enough for them to be like, yo, whatever we can give, let's help. So we tried to put some things together, and it just so happened that somehow a friend was getting married at the time, Hassan Jackson, and his wife Zainab.
How'd you first meet Leftist? Like, when did you first stumble upon them?
Well, I knew Mohammed Diabate. We had several classes together, similar major. So I knew that he was into drumming, into music in general. So it seemed like it was something that could be really fun for our wedding. Having some type of African drumming. for Maher, it was a similar story. He did traditional Indian drumming, and I felt like that would be something that would be a nice touch.
After the wedding, we realized we had some chemistry together. So we tried playing a show. I don't even remember the show. The show was before or after, but it was some show at Students for Justice in Palestine, I believe. And it was me and Nuruddin, and Diabate and Ismail Nicholas were in the audience. And they wanted to get involved with this music project. Apparently that they thought we were pretty good. So we had a jam session in my basement. And first I was on drums, but then Ismail got on drums, and we realized he was much better at drums than I was. So he was the drummer, and I needed something to do, so I picked up a guitar, and that's how I became the guitarist of Leftist.
What's your role in the band?
Well, besides being a bass player, I never thought anything that needs to be done that somebody else cannot do. You know, it's not like a specific role for per se. It's more like per need. You know, if you need some email to be sent out. But I kind of take care of a lot of the like equipment, logistics, or stuff like that.
My first interaction with Nuruddin and Leftist in general was with, it was through here at the University of Maryland at the Muslim Interscholastic Tournament, MIST, and I was competing in Nasheed with a lot of my brothers from Jeff Stewart High School, with Ahmed Chabelsi, Yunus Amire, Ahmed, and a lot of them. And, at the variety show, we would perform a lot. So it was kind of like the first night at MIST was like everyone get together and everyone kind of showcased their talents. And that's what I did, and I believe that's where Nuruddin and them kind of saw me, and he approached me, and he was like, we would like you to perform with us, and we have a show on this day, would you like to come by and perform? And I was like, yeah, of course, I felt like it was a bigger opportunity for me to kind of go out there and showcase my talent as well. And inside I was feeling like, oh my God, Nuruddin was just like, would you like to perform with us? So that was kind of, attracted my talent and everything, and I was really appreciative of that.
I got involved with Leftist back in 2012 after I did a gig in Philly with another artist, and Diabate had called me. He was like, yo, can you do some of the studio stuff for our album? I was like, that's what's up. So, ever since then, I've been with them.
Obviously, Dean, I know he's his favorite player.
Yeah.
He's like the Kobe Bryant of the team, clearly.
The Luke Longley, maybe. I mean, he might be the
No, the guy who talks, he's like the spokesperson of the team, right?
Yeah.
So you obviously have your starters. Are you a starter? Because we don't really, you're not really on the website too much.
I think of myself as like, a Scottie Pippen. I'm a starter. I'm definitely I'm going to give you the work. I'm put it in. But like a lot of times there's events that's all through their connections and their stuff. So naturally they're going to be the face because they have all the relationships.
You said a lot of it's like a brotherhood. It's not just brotherhood of obviously band members, but the spiritual. They're all Muslim. Do you feel detached, or how do they make you feel comfortable?
Oh no,
you're not uncomfortable at all.
And see, and see that's the thing. Like it's a brotherhood. There's a brotherhood in Islam there, but one of the things that I notice and I love about the Islam Brotherhood is that there is, and I think a misperception of it is that there is this outreach that is always there, and they're always there to say, you know what, you might not be part of the faith necessarily, but that doesn't mean we're going to treat you any less of a human being.
Our resident medical student is about to give us some knowledge. Right? De-germed yellow cornmeal.
What does that mean?
Let me tell you something about these. I don't know.
Yeah, in all honesty, I hear you shouldn't eat ingredients if you can't pronounce them.
That's true.
I know, right?
You know, we all have our responsibilities and everything like that. So whenever I have the opportunity to, I like to help out in whatever way I can. I think that I'm enthusiastic about being able to do that because I have such a history with everyone who's a part of this group, and I think that understanding helps me to, I think, at least share a little bit of my insights about moves that we can make to help us grow and build the movement moving forward.
So as a backdrop for Leftist, kind of explain how you guys collectively formed the identity of Leftist.
We didn't collectively form the identity of Leftist. That was probably the hardest process of this whole Leftist thing, was creating the name. By far, we had, oh my God, we had some of the wildest names you would imagine, like, especially Ish. He came up with all types of stupid names, shortstop drifters, and because we drifted a little bit differently than that. It didn't even have anything to do with baseball, so I have the manatees. Yeah, that face you just gave me, that's the face we gave him. Exactly. How did we come up? Basically, so we came up with a bunch of different names. What happened was we were in a crunch because after the wedding that we had done, we had a lot of student groups for some reason wanted us to perform for them. A lot of student groups. So we ended up with about 8 shows within a month. Our first 2 months of getting together, and so our first show, we had to obviously come up with a name. And we were throwing stuff out. We were a week maybe a few days away from the show. It was probably the most stressful thing I've been a part of as far as this band is concerned. That one part, that tiny little part. So we're all throwing names and we're just vetoing, just knocking off. We must have come up with 1,000 names, just knocking them off. And so at one point we thought about Leftist because we were getting down to the last minute, and I had, at the time, I was when I was on Facebook, I was under the name Leftist McGillicuddy for no other reason other than I just didn't want anybody to find me. I didn't want anybody to connect Nordine with, I'm kind of a little bit more introverted than people know. I don't like to be, where people can see me too much. So I was using that name. And Diabate happened to be like, he was just like, look, we might as well run with that because that's the name that everybody, when I was performing under the name Leftist. So he was like, we might as well run with that because that's the name that everybody sort of, already knows. You've done a few shows with that, we might as well run with that. So we finally, the reason why it happened was because we just had no choice. Basically, we had no choice at all as far as what to do. We came down, the person kept asking us, it was the Strength of the Shaking show, and she kept asking, like, we need a name, we need something to put on the flyer. So we finally just went with Leftist and said, okay, well maybe we'll come up with something later. But it grew into its own, its own meanings as far as each of us are concerned from there.
Can you hear the guitar? Can you hear the guitar? Okay, he said he can.
I'm getting weird feedback on that, man.
On the guitar?
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about yourself.
My name is Khalil Ismail, and I've been doing music for about 7-8 years now. I'm also a producer, singer, writer, and MC.
You produced their first album, right?
I did produce their first album.
What was that process like?
It was nice. We first started with a song called Cold, actually.
I'm the feature for this evening. 100 different aliases, a million different reasons.
And they kind of had the riff for it already, and so I was just, I just needed to take it in the studio and make it a full production.
It's deeper. We don't claim to be the freezer. I'm just saying like Vegeta. It's
cold. You let them know we get busy. We get busy. We get busy. We get busy when they say I'm cold. You let them know we get busy. We get busy. We get busy. We get busy. kill. It's getting old and ill, rolling the doses. Leave with your own, no hope of coming home. It's over, your last breath, rest with your culture skills. Swallow harshness, choke on pills. Very few are gonna make it, others assimilated. The rest displaced of strict bone, naked and faceless. Same faces they once painted. The faces the same faces they once stated. Breaks in the same faces they once made. Religious, my country, this country is so understand that they don't really care about us. Don't get involved, don't get started. All I understand that they don't really care about us. From the front to the home with the heart. All I understand that they don't really care about us. All I understand that they don't really care about us. So play your part in the daily compartment. Ash your pedal, level all the rebels coming up against my lower. This is sweating, another falling ghetto. We don't sweat Soweto, sweat these undercolors in blues, rocks, heavy metal. Scurry you animals, hurry before you trample. Rope is steady scorching, we rock the candles, we torch the landfill. Left burn this candle, marrying this carrying death. Left this shambles, hysteria. I got some malaria, malaria. You are not on the board, receive at this area. One other thing, you come against us when they will struggle you with it. You rock the fucking shame, they gon' take a bullshit. They don't really care about you. Get involved, don't get started. All I understand that they don't really care about you. Coming through the front to the home to your house. All I understand that they don't really care about you. This set makes you set someone's house.
Just for us winning part of the band was kind of like, I mean, I was like really happy because for the past 3 years we tried to like get into part of the band, but every year like something happened and we couldn't do it.
The first year we couldn't play because I think we didn't get the stuff in on time. The second year we couldn't play because I think we had all pretty much graduated or something to that effect, and there has to be a student, a part of it, who's participating so that you can participate in the Battle of the Bands. And then the third year, I guess the third year was this year, so we were able to participate. Oh no, the third year we weren't able to participate because we didn't have a drummer. That's why, because Ish was doing medical school. He basically had said that he couldn't do as much with the group as he had done before. So we didn't really have a drummer at the time. So we waited 4 years to participate in the Battle of the Bands that would lead to Art Attack. It just so happens by then we were pretty much, primed. We were ready to go. So we had just gotten back from California like 2 days before, doing a show in California, and then we had already signed up for a Battle of the Bands. We got selected to do Battle of the Bands, and so we ended up winning Battle of the Bands between the judges' votes and the fans' votes. We ended up winning it. So then we get to Art Attack, and it's like finally we're here. 4 years we've been waiting to get here, play at UMD and at the big show.
So, but this year was like, we were, I guess Allah was like, okay, you guys are ready to do this now, so now is the best time for y'all to do it. So I mean, yeah, I can't, when they said Leftist, like, oh, I think like I picked up about Allah on my shoulder, like start jumping around, and I mean that was like pure excitement, excitement. It was as like graduating, I think.
But it didn't become a reality until Dean sent me a text or an email, and all it says is, "We won!" And then that's when it hit me. Oh my God, we're playing Art Attack. And I would be back for that. I was gonna be back to play Art Attack. And then it hit me, oh my God, I haven't touched a guitar in months. Yeah.
The whole thing is basically we gotta wait for Ish anyway, so we can run through all the hard stuff first, just get ourselves warm type of thing, and then when he comes, we can put it in full gear. Just a couple things. I'm trying to think. Okay, so we gonna start doing singles jiggity like that. So basically, when obviously when I'm doing that, we going a little too fast. Gotta slow down. When I say that, we good. I mean, we gotta go up. Obviously, gotta pick it up. When I'm doing this, we good. You know what I mean? Bate is going to be timer. All right, so he's gonna keep time for whatever show we doing. All right, and then I'll let everybody else know from there. I'll throw up a hand sign or something like that, do a jig, do a little dance. What? What was that? Everybody ready? Yeah.
Check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay.
That's so funny. Oh, so Irish. How you doing, man? It's good seeing you again. Doing well, doing well.
So, how are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, you know, I'm kind of in between right now. I can't say that I'm feeling any extreme of emotions. I'm trying to just maintain homeostasis and stay balanced. I think that's pretty much the most important thing leading up to a big show like this.
And what is that?
Art Attack on Friday night. We're going to be opening up for MGMT, well, the Ready Set and MGMT.
What are some of you personally or for the band, your pre-show rituals, so to speak? Everybody's got it.
Pre-show rituals. Well, we've got a mixed bag of things. It's really a melting pot. It's, I mean, it varies really. It could be yoga. It could be just sitting in complete silence with each other. I think on Friday we might just be playing basketball. Yeah, it's really just about unwinding, trying to really just enjoy the moment.
This ain't Ivory Coast.
But right now I'm kind of excited. It's kind of like the biggest stage ever that we've been on. But yeah, like I can't really assess my emotion at the moment. But it's more like excitement. That I know I will get nervous at some point for sure.
Has the fact that like you're opening up for MGMT like affect the way your set list or affect how you prepare your show? Because it's gonna probably be like an indie crowd, most likely.
Well, I mean, one thing about that's like one thing about Leftist. We do mainly hip hop, but we'll fit like almost any genre in some songs. So for example, like Cole, you guys might hear something that you might have heard from like the late 80s, like a rock band. I'm not gonna say the name yet, but hopefully you guys will get a feel for it. Or the other departed. But there's gonna be some songs that everybody knows. So I mean, I'm not too much worried about that. In terms of like, are they gonna like what? Is that what you're asking for? are they gonna be worried about?
Are you worried?
I'm not worried.
How do you prepare for something like that mentally?
Mentally, I think the most important thing, I mean, it really goes back to just being balanced, like I was saying before. I think the easiest way to do that is to not think about it. You know, just treat it like a show, just like any other. You know, in the back of your mind, you do have that excitement about, hey, this is going to be the biggest show that we've ever had, and we're going to have the biggest turnout that we've ever had. And on top of that, we're going to be opening up for, you know, international group, you know, MGMT. It's been playing like all over the place, and you know, they're where we hope to get someday, and beyond that. So it's definitely hard not to at least, you know, let your mind wander and you know, toy with, you know, the what ifs of you know, where this show could take us afterwards, and the next few steps after the show. But I think for me, those things usually just kind of take away from me being in the present and like doing my best to prepare for the show leading up to, in the days leading up to it. So yeah, I just try not to really think about it, treat it like a show, just like any other, and make sure that we do our best to put on just a good show.
What's going on in your head as artistically?
The first 2 minutes is don't screw up. That's the first thing in my head. And after you screw up, because you do, you're fine. You're comfortable. And I'm into it. After my first mistake, I'm like, okay, I'm here. I'm home. And I'm fine. And I'm looking at, and you start seeing people's eyes. You know, I started looking people in their eyes and connecting with people. And I forget that I forget that I'm on a stage, and it just feels like I am sitting there. It feels like everybody's part of the band at that point. After I get comfortable, and after I'm there on stage, it feels like I'm there performing with everyone, not for people, you know?
Maybe if there's like some good wave and we have 5 minutes left.
Yeah, we'll try and do that. Yeah, but it's really important that we stick to the timeline.
Cool, no problem.
Yep. Yeah,
all the
just
way
go
around.
around, and then it's the third door on the right.
You want to go?
It's Mark's
I'm gonna do
crew
my hair.
bathroom.
Let's go.
Just like
Yeah,
around
let's
where
go.
the ambulance is.
I got some gel. You got gel? Yeah, let's pretty up a little bit.
All right.
Let's pretty up a little
Good luck, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you. We got 8 minutes. Don't worry, we'll be back by then. We still gotta pray, dude. We're out here, you know, first of all, for God's sake, for Him bestowing upon us all these different talents that we have. We want to be here to make everyone happy, to make everyone smile, and we want to do the right thing, and we want to get busy.
Inshallah.
Dean, you want to finish with the dua?
Allah bless us, allow us to have put us in the best position to carry this on somewhere else, wherever it's supposed to go, and let's have some great fun. Let's go. Let's go, Leftist.
I'd like to welcome you to Art Attack 30 featuring Leftist, Chroma, 30 Set, and MGMT.
We got a message one time about the song Bombshell, right? And the message basically was that this teacher had heard our EP in New York or something to that effect, and
she had allowed her kids, her after school, it's like a girls' class or something to that effect, to listen to the full EP, right? And in particular, they got to Bombshell. Now, Bombshell is a song about empowerment, about female empowerment. It's not like a this is why you're so blessed, this is why you're so this. It's just my way of saying this is what I've seen in the people the women that I know who have come through my life, and this is in particular, this is how I see it, and thank you for showing me that. That's basically what Bombshell is. And so apparently they got into a discussion about what Bombshell meant, right? And so these little girls who apparently have had, different type of issues, little ghetto kid girls, who have low self-esteem issues and things like that, they're coming into school calling themselves bombshells. They're dressing up, right? Feeling themselves as if they're feeling better about themselves based on our song. That's a serious responsibility. That's why I'm telling you, this isn't something that you can just, you just wake up and you just do, That's when you have a calling, when you see something like that. But then it's also that moment when you look and you say, can I do this? Because you now hold a certain level of responsibility. And it's like, that's something that I carry as far as a burden. That's something that I carry. Those little girls are now looking up to us. Their parents are calling the teacher saying, "Whatever you did, thank you." We got a message. We got a message from the little girls, and they're yelling, "Bombshell! When are you going to be on the radio?" It's little girls. I kid you not. I can't make this stuff up. So those type of things are the things that carry you. My sister has a friend, and her friend told my sister to tell her that she wakes up and listens to Bombshell every day to feel good about herself. How, that's a weight. That's something that you have to worry about. But the rest of it, I don't really, the whole Muslim aspect of it, Allah will take care of that for me.
The Art Attack experience, that was nuts, man. So just the way that I work with performing is I feed off of the crowd's energy. So there's sometimes you go places where the crowd is there, they're not really paying attention, or they're doing something else, and you kind of just have to vibe off of them. But Art Attack everybody was in it, they didn't know the songs, but by the second verse they had the chorus down and they were singing along and people were waving hands. It was just, all over the place. So I vibed so hard, and me being back in Maryland, place where I spent some of the formative years of my life, my adulthood, it was just the perfect storm. Sitting up on stage with your brothers and being in an environment that's so comforting and so invigorating. It was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. I haven't played a show anything close to that yet.
We were the last ones.
The ticket said 6:30.
Yeah,
you said 6:30.
You didn't see it?
At 6. 6:30.
Yeah.
What time did we get on stage?
I just got a call from our friend that said that they missed the set, and I was like, well, what do you mean you missed the set? They were like, the show said, it said 6:30, and I was like, no, it didn't say 6:30, it said like 6:15 or something.
Yes, each ticket says 6:30. It says the event starts at 6:30.
Wait,
we got off at 6:25. Not only did we get off at 6:25, right? They rushed us and they rushed us through our set, right? We had to cut a lot of our set, and then on top of it, when I got off, Rob was telling me, he was like, no, it's 6:26. I'm like, because he's like, why are you back there? I'm like, because they told us they told us we had to get off or whatever, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
he's like, no, it's 6:20. Y'all made perfect timing. Y'all were in the middle, still in the middle of, y'all had just finished Cold.
Right.
Y'all had just finished Cold. Yeah. When he told me we were in it was right before the third verse. When he told me we were off. Right before the third verse. That's at least 2-3 minutes.
Right. We understand that you had a little bit of a issue with the C management as far as your fans not being able to see the show. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Okay. So I usually try not to make it sound like this was done on purpose, or things were done on purpose. I like to try to give people the benefit of the doubt, but we had an issue where basically we were told to be on at 6, so we went on from, I believe it was 6 o'clock to 6:20 or 6:25, something to that effect. The tickets on the Art Attack, the tickets say 6:30, that the event starts at 6:30.
Friday, May 3rd, 2013, 6:30 p.m.
How many stands do we have? We should count them. I have one, 4,
Get it out.
Half hour. You know how many people came in that half hour? Yeah, we could ask.
Get it now?
You didn't take a picture of that?
I did. I took it on my phone. But you should probably take a picture of it too, so we have a copy of it. I can't believe they moved us.
So it's like, why would you put us in a situation why would you even have us do Battle of the Bands if you didn't even want people to see us? You know, a lot of the people who would have come for us didn't make it because they thought it started at 6:30.
I bought the ticket. I knew about the time the band was performing. It was around 6:30 or whatever. They're going to open up, and then I get here at 6:30. I'm battling traffic, everything like that, and then I come and I hear that they already performed, and I was like, "Are you serious?" Like, I was like, I'm an early bird. I always come early to events, so I thought 6:30, great time. Concerts normally start a little bit late and everything like that, and then I heard they performed, and I was like, man, so I didn't even get to experience Leftist opening up here at Bird Stadium.
It sucks, I guess. It's bad. I didn't like it. Our fans, we had been advertising, we had been telling a lot of people to come out and see us play Art Attack. A lot of people really wanted to see us. And I'm honored that people wanted to see us. I really am. And I wanted them to see us. It would have been really great to go out into that audience and just see your friends out there cheering you on. And that didn't happen because we went on earlier than it said on the ticket. And it's unfair. It really is. But at the end of the day, we were the opening band. And we weren't just the opening band, we were the opening band for the opening band for the opening band for the they could have brought on Kittens on stage and MGMT wouldn't have cared any more or any less. That's what happens when you're the opening band. You pay your dues, and that was us paying our dues. Are we above that? No, I wouldn't say we're above that. I think we were a victim of something that happens, and it just happens.
In that situation, we posted it, obviously, that we were going on at 6, but that's one of those situations where you're like, okay, then why you have us here? Are we just here as a prop to say that there was a UMD band here? You don't understand exactly why they have you go through all the steps that you go through for Battle of the Bands, and then at the end of the day, they really don't, want the people who who support you to come to see you. I mean, because these people voted for us. Battle of the Bands was something that people voted for. You know, so there were enough people there to vote for us to play Art Attack. For those people not to be able to see that, I was kind of pissed about it, to be honest.
You said you were pissed about it.
Yeah, I mean, this happens. This type of shit happens every day. One of those type of ways. Like it's just naturally. I guess that's what happens in this business. You know, people treat you according to how they feel they should treat you.
I mean, do you feel like with what your experience with Art Attack, do you feel like Leftist as a band doesn't get the respect that it deserves? That you guys deserve?
I think we as people didn't get the respect that we do. It's not even about Leftist. It's, you know, we put a lot of time into preparing for that show. A lot of late nights. And the people who were managing the show, to them, it's not a big deal. And when you disrespect someone's time like that, you're disrespecting them as a human being. It doesn't even matter that we're a band or not. You're disrespecting that person as a human being. And that's the part I didn't like. That they were disrespecting us as a human being. It could have been any band. Any band. If they're the opening band and you cut their set, you put them on early, and you don't even put the right time on the ticket, you're disrespecting them. And so I don't think it was a Leftist issue. It was a management disrespecting human beings.
I feel like we don't get the respect that we deserve, and that's in general. I mean, but I often wonder sometimes if that's just all artists, if all artists feel like that. Because to be honest, it's frustrating. It's not. I think people think that this is just like some game that you play, that you don't put the work in. You're not there till 4 o'clock in the morning, you know, rehearsing one song. But the amount of time that it took, the amount of seriousness, the amount of preparation that we put into it, we would like that to be, you know, we would like people to respect that more.
Where are we going, guys?
Tours.
We're going to tours.
Studios. I'm going to work. All around the world. Unfortunately, I'm going to work. That's what the heck I'm going.
Every once in a while, you will have a band that will be able to, you know, work with a major deal and be able to still come out with music that doesn't compromise the soul. I think that NDRE, for example, is an example of that. And I think you have others, even though she has her trouble as well. I don't think that they would be selling their souls, but I think it would be a lot harder for them to do what they wanted to do. And so, even though, you know, but at the same time, the money and the marketing matters. So I wouldn't blame them for it.
I definitely think if they keep up with their drive and determination and they push past the fears and things like that, I could really see them being a band like, you know, like the likes of The Roots or, you know, something like that, like really big, really making a name for themselves, really getting a positive message out there. You know, the lyrics are really, really beautifully written, mashallah, the music, just, I would love to see them like continue with this whole collective project that they've been doing, you know, branching out and learning from other artists and allowing them to, you know, take that in personally and then grow from it. So yeah, I see them doing that.
Their music is universal. They don't focus on any one individual, any one group. Islam is their backbone as individuals and artists, but their music they make is universal. And that's why I believe Leftist is successful and will continue to be successful even to a commercial mainstream crowd.
They're probably the most diverse group you'll ever find. They don't let their faith put them down. They're making their faith a part of what they do, because they're not making their faith just something that they feel forced to practice. It's a way of life for them. And that's what's so beautiful about what they do is that they're not sacrificing who they are to share their message.
Where do you see them in the next year, next 5 years, 10 years?
I hope that I hope everyone has heard what they're doing. I think that Leftist isn't just, you know, some music, it's a movement, and I'm hoping that the world will be able to hear that and be moved by what Leftist has to say. So I hope within the next few years that, you know, everyone has had the opportunity to hear their message.
The grind that they're doing, they're going to continue to blow. It's literally just a matter of time. They're going to be seen by the right manager, the right agent, the right someone who's going to have a good look for them. And definitely 5 years, Leftist is going to be touring the world. Inshallah, I hope, God willingly, they're going to have a big record release. I see them doing a lot of big things. 5 years, definitely touring the world, and maybe putting out a major album with a major label, possibly.
I think there's something different. They're passionate about what they do, and I think that's why, you know, I hope one day they're going to do something great, because they have the skills, and it's just time for everyone to be able to hear what they have to say.
Thank you for having us.
Let's thank the Lord for having us, for giving us the ability to do this. But without Him, we are nothing.
So we got one more left for y'all, and they're gonna make our way and come chill with y'all for a little bit. We are Leftist.com. Our first video just came out. Our EP for free on the website. The EP will be on sale up there in the vending area. You can pick it up. We are Leftist.com. We will see you all very soon. This is our first single. Switch it up a code. Okay, cool. Give me first and second. First and second. Listen, I'm the feature for this evening. 100 different aliases, million different reasons. But let me provide a temperature this is winter season. Cause we hit intervene and out the truth, the inconvenience. Believe it, these roots are too scenic. No one takes this drive unless it's the most high. I gotta see him. Once I enter the Coliseum, picture got the beat to a mental stop competing. It's getting frigid, you may need to get your heaters. The tiger palm, my firearm, look at the phoenix. They get hot, we in a couple of these deeper. And I'm like to be the reason, I'm just saying like Virginia, just go. You let them know we get busy, we get busy, we get busy, we get busy. When they say I'm go. You let them know we get busy, we get busy, we get busy, we get busy. Switch it up, I need the fools who wanna rock with the top gun. Ready to cruise on these trucks like a rocket. We stay in the cool of the conditions on the motor. So, get to know this kill flow like Jojo. I'm always the main guy with stakes, prime with my stakes. Tip the scales at the wait time. Suffocation in this place, you respirate fine. Breathe things depending on the baseline. When these get straight, see this when we take five. Put a couple feet to them and these space slide. When we drop, nothing up for great style. And the reflection in their eyes, we can say yeah. Wanna say I'm come. You let them know we get busy, we get busy, we get busy, we get busy. When they say I'm go. You let them know we get busy, we get busy, we get busy, we get busy. Out here all year, the front and heavy words, mobbing up, piling up, very contemporary signs of apocalypse. Time is up, the essence, no bodies up, shining in. Better get the lesson, cause we shake the scene in, calm the clouds in, reign supreme in, storm the loudest. True show, Judo is future pollution. Come to roost, so you will lose homes. Two blows on your body, reality, my crew, no Daniel Russo. Two